One item, council closed session report number OPS 21-023 delay claim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, reporting out of closed session, the motion is to receive the report and that confidential direction to staff be confirmed.
Thank you. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Thompson. Second, Councillor Kim. Any comments or questions? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, report a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Court vote for the only item of council reporting out of closed session this evening. Councillor Thompson, how do you vote? Councillor Thompson votes yes. Councillor Gallup?
Yes.
Councillor Kim?
Yes.
Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Gilliland? Councillor Gilliland votes yes. Councillor Gardner?
Yes.
Councillor Humphreys?
Yes.
And Mayor Maracus.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Confirming bylaw. Someone like to move that? Councillor Kim, seconder. Councillor Gardner, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Gardner, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Clerk, time is 7:02. I'm going to call this council meeting to order. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, meetings will be available to the public via live stream only on the town's YouTube channel. To participate electronically, please visit aurora.ca/participation. We'd like to start by acknowledging that the land on which we live and work is the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe peoples, whose presence here continues to this day. Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaties First Nations. We acknowledge and thank them for sharing this land with us. A shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and of how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Councillor Thompson, second, Councillor Humphreys. Any comments or questions? Oh, Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. I had sent an inquiry to the clerk. There was a letter of support in regards to my motion tonight, but I do not see it on the agenda, and I just wanted to make sure it was there for the record.
Mr. Clerk.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, generally we would put correspondence on the council or on the agenda when it is asked for. I didn't receive requests prior to this, so it's not included, but we just circulate it per our process.
Councillor.
Thank you, but I did receive an email from the resident sending it in time, sent to me, so that's why I looked on to see if it was added and it wasn't. So I'm not so sure how you want this handled, but just based on the inquiry that the resident sent me, was well before the documented time. So you're suggesting he did not email you?
Councillor, I'd maybe just suggest instead of amending it, maybe if you could just read it during your time when you speak, and you could just say
that's fine. I just want to make sure, because I don't want to be sending residents the wrong information, because I copied and pasted.
That's fine.
I got an email back saying this is what I've sent. So I just want to make sure that it is on the record.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Call the vote. We're on our devices. It is council.
I vote yes.
Just the two? Councillor Gardner?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Humphreys?
Yes.
Thank you. That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, no community presentations, no delegations, consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve 7.1 to 7.10? Councillor Gallo, thank you. Councillor Humphreys, any comments or questions on any of those? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
I vote yes.
Two.
I vote yes as well, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing came up.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay, Samantha, it just came up. Just the two. Okay, Councillor Humphreys.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson, you're still didn't go through. He's submitting it. Can you just say, Councillor Thompson? Yes, yes. He's submitting it. For some reason, it's not going through. Samantha, you might want to. That carries. Okay. Council, we'll move into standing committee reports. Before I ask members for any items that they want to pull, I do want to remind council, we've had this discussion many times, but I thought it was important just to remind everyone, under our procedural bylaw, section 23C, members shall express themselves without repetition. Just remind it, everyone. You're going to repeat what you said at GC. I will turn off your mic. If you have something new to add, or if you are asking for a recorded vote, by all means, that's what we're here for tonight. So with that, any items to be pulled? Councillor Gilliland, I'll start to my right. No? Councillor Kim. Councillor Thompson.
Just the municipal service, just for a vote.
Just for a vote? Yep. Thank you. Municipal service review is
813, I think.
813. Thank you. Councillor Humphreys?
Yeah, no, good.
You're good? Councillor Gardner?
823, please.
823. Thank you. Councillor Gallo? Nope. Thank you. Okay, council, can I get someone to move that all items minus 8.1.3 and 8.2.3 be carried by the committee, or recommendations carried by the committee be approved? Councillor Gilliland, second. Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Gardner.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Humphreys.
Yes.
Thank you. That carries. Council, before we go to the two items that were pulled, I would suggest that we move to 9.1, which is the motor vehicle collision cost recovery program, as we have Deputy Fire Chief Rocco Volpe with us. So just so we can get him to do his presentation and we can get that out of the way so he doesn't have to wait while we go through the two other items. Everyone's good with that? Otherwise, okay. We don't need, I'll just bring it forward. That's fine. Okay, so we'll go to 9.1. Deputy Chief. Welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you, Your Worship, and hello to all council members. It's a pleasure to be here tonight with you. It's been a while since I've seen you all, but it's nice to see all your faces in the Zoom. Before I get started with my high-level presentation, I just want to show you this picture. This afternoon, we were fortunate to have both mayors and Madam Chair of the JCC attend headquarters to celebrate Fire Chief Ian Lang's 45th long service bar to the profession of firefighting. So he has served 45 years, and we just celebrated with some cake and coffee. The chief received a service bar from the province, from the Office of the Fire Marshal, Emergency Management, and the two worships were there to present them with that, along with Madam Chair. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. So I'll get started with my report. I'll keep it very brief because I know everyone has a busy itinerary. I just wanted to come and present you JCC Fire Service Report 2021-13. I hope you had a chance to read it all. I'm excited that we have hit this milestone now. It's hard to believe that it's now coming to 2 years that we have worked through this pilot for the cost recovery program. So the report, if you had an opportunity to read it, it had 4 recommendations. One was to have the report received by both municipal councils, Aurora and Newmarket. The second was to authorize CYFS staff to implement the cost recovery program on a permanent basis and move away from the pilot effective January 1st, 2022. The third recommendation is the ability to increase our permanent part-time person to 28 hours, which is 4 days a week, to 35 hours, which would be 5 days. And that JCC also approved adding elevator rescues and smoke and carbon monoxide alarms to the cost recovery program. On page 2 and 3 of the report, we'll tell you all the financials to the pilot. I'm happy to tell you all that after the 2 years and paying our expenditures, and there's 2 expenditures in the program. One expenditure is the cost of the accounts administrator. So there's a cost there. And we also pay cost to the Ministry of Transportation when we are looking up license plates. We are subject to a $14 fee for every search that we complete on a vehicle to determine who was at fault at that collision. So I'm proud to announce to all of you that after paying our expenditures, the total net recovery for the pilot, and that would be for 2020 and 2021, was $120,000. Now, due to the timing of the report, I wasn't able to get all the Q4 actuals for 2021. So I just forecasted. And if my forecast is correct, at year end, we should be just south of about 140,000. So that's what the pilot has done for us. We budgeted in the CYFS budget for 2021 about 100,000. So we put that into the budget. So we surpassed that that budget figure, and we met our target. And I'm delighted to let you all know that JCC approved the report to move forward and to make this a permanent program. And hopefully in the future, I could come back to council with other opportunities that I see fit that we are eligible to cost recover, and we could have those conversations at JCC and hopefully bring those forward to both municipal councils. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the presentation. I hope you had the opportunity to read it, and if there's any questions that you would like to ask, feel free, or I could be reached offline at any time to answer any of your questions. And just to let you know, I didn't throughout the 2 years, I only received about a half a dozen complaints from residents who thought that they weren't aware of such a cost recovery program. But once I educated them and provided them the bylaws and background information, it didn't seem to move any further than my office. So I never got to the chief's office, or I believe I never heard from any councillors, both in Aurora and Newmarket, if they were experiencing an upset resident. So with that, council, I appreciate the time you have given me. And I just wanted to let you know the good news and the good work that JCC is doing. And thank you for allowing me to meet with you tonight to bring this report forward.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Council, recommendations or report CS 21-088 be received for information. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Gilliland, seconded by Councillor Gallo. Any comments or questions for the Deputy Chief? Councillor Gallo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Deputy Chief Lopez, for all your work on this project. I wanted to make the public understand, at least my perspective on this, that it was always, at least when I looked at this project sitting on JCC, that I didn't want just another burden or a tax or a fee to the taxpayer solely to generate income. And I think, to your credit, that's exactly what's not happening. While we're generating income, most of the income is generated from areas that we expended resources and we never recouped them. And some are recovered by insurance companies. Some of the others, they're given multiple chances to correct any issues like fire alarms or that type of things before there are any charges. So I just want the public to know, and to thank you, Deputy Chief Volpe, for organizing and putting this program together, that I'm confident in moving it forward on a permanent basis. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner.
Well, I was just going to say, Deputy Chief, that it's wonderful that you're not coming asking for money, that you're coming to tell us about money that we're going to receive or have received. Have we received this money to date?
Through you,
Deputy
your
Chief?
worship, to council, through you, your worship. I apologize. Through you, your worship, to Councillor Gardner. Yes, we've received these financials.
Councillor.
Thank you. And it's also good to know that the residents, I'm sure there were some anger and some pushback about this, but from what you said, it seems at the end of the day that there was reasonableness in the responses, or at least acceptance.
Deputy-
So,
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Gardner. With the guidance of JCC, my direction was to ensure that some of the programs that we do cost recover for, was I would have to demonstrate that there was a lack due diligence or a negligence on their part before we got into any enforcement of such sort. So that's been the case. Usually we offer programs where there's a 3-strike rule. So you get kind of 3 chances to correct your behavior before we would proceed with any enforcement. And some of the programs, just like our cost recovery for motor vehicle collisions, there is no 3-strike rule because a motor vehicle collision happens. And then what happens is we look at the at-fault driver, and then that's where we seek our financials through their insurance companies, which we haven't had any resistance from.
Councillor?
Mhm. Thank you. Well, it's just all good news, and hopefully everybody will learn from this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief, for your presentation. I know we've had plenty of opportunity to speak about the program over the last little while. I don't have too many more questions about the program, just about the picture that you put up earlier at the start of the presentation. I didn't notice any candles on it. Is that because it would have been too many to be a fire hazard? I don't know.
Deputy Chief and Councillor, what I'll say to that is that there was a little bit of ribbon going on at the event. A few people took liberties at the chief, but I'll let Deputy Chief answer
that. Through you, Your Worship, to Councillor Thompson. Excellent observation. You are correct. We did use the candles just because we just didn't want to create any fire hazard of any sort. And I just wanted to make sure there was no candles because the chief was adamant and the mayor was there that this is not a retirement, but rather a recognition of his 45 years in the fire service.
Councillor?
Thanks very much. And certainly it's been a wonderful time that I've known him for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And normally I don't comment, but I think it's okay tonight. I think you've done a great job, Chief Volpe. And I can't help but think of Councillor Buck right now, because I think she would be totally in awe of having money come back from the fire department. All her discussions about the department. Just in terms of, her memorial was just recently. And this would be a pretty awesome moment for her, I'm sure, to say, what do you mean you're giving it money? You're saving us money? But no, great job. All in all, really great. Thank you. Just a quick question. I noticed you're going to be adding elevator rescue, and is that sort of the same thing, warnings, for the buildings to get those repairs done before they have repeat issues? I'm just very claustrophobic and I'd be afraid I'll pay the bill, but is that the same sort of process?
Through you, Your Worship, to Councillor Humphreys. I am just in the process of preparing an update to our user fees that brings along with it a description of how the elevator rescue and how the smoke and carbon monoxide alarm program is going to work. It's going to be an option for the JCC to either have it as a 2-strike or a 3-strike. I have my preference, but I'll reserve that, and I'd rather take direction from JCC. So it would be a 2-strike or a 3-strike. This is when we enter a building establishment and an elevator's got stuck or it's malfunctioned. There's no medical aid required because the patrons in the elevator are just doing fine. They're just kind of stuck. If we can't assist because it's just past our scope of training that we can't extricate into the elevator, then what that requires is a representative from an elevator company to respond to the building. And what we do is we stand by for that time until a professional elevator technician arrives, so they would have the proper equipment to evacuate the patrons. But that standby piece that we sit on, that will be subject for an invoice with the direction of council and what they provide me.
Great. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. Thanks again. Great work.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, just before I call the vote, Deputy Chief, I just wanted to add, and I know I said it there, but I think it's worth repeating. thank the chief for his commitment to both our communities and his leadership in regards to not only that commitment, but also to the training of the staff and everyone there. We wouldn't be I think the cream of the crop when it comes to a fire service if it wasn't for the chief. So, and obviously all of you as well, but it's the chief's day today. 45 years is an incredible, I guess legacy. And I know that he's going to continue. It's not a retirement, as he said. He's going to continue, and we'll see more of him. Maybe we'll be giving him that 50-year bar when that comes up. So thank you very much, Deputy Chief, for coming out today.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I wish everyone a happy season as we enter into the winter, into Christmas.
Thank you. Council, call the vote. Councillor Humphreys?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner? Councillor Gardner?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Yes.
Thank you. That carries. Council, we will move to the items that we were pulled. 8.1.3's first one, final report, Town of Aurora Municipal Service Delivery Review. The recommendation coming out of committee was that the report be received. 2, that staff be directed to prioritize and action the recommendations in the report as appropriate. And 3, that staff report back to council on progress. Councillor Thompson, do you want to move that? Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Gilliland, thank you. I'm assuming no comments or questions. Councillor, you said you want to just pose for a vote. Thank you. Not seeing any others. Call the vote. Councillor Gardner?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Humphreys?
Yes.
Thank you. That carries unanimously. Next, 8.2.3, heritage permit application. Council, the recommendation out of committee was that the report number PDS 21-105 be referred back to staff. And 2, that council consents to a further extension of HPA 2020-04 from December 13, 2021. If anyone remembers the discussion, we did want to get a date. I have received confirmation of the date from Mr. Waters. It is 60-day extension. So if we'd like, we can just add in that council consents to a further 60-day extension of HPA 2020-04 from December 13, 2021. So I think that's what we were all asking for. So Councillor Gardner, you pulled that. Did you want to move that recommendation?
No, I didn't, Mr. Mayor.
Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Gilliland, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Humphreys, thank you. Councillor Gardner, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last week, we had a staff report on 74 Center Street, and the motion resulted, as you said. I voted to approve staff report. I did say last week that if council didn't approve the application, we would be setting a very bad precedent, but I didn't say why. So I would like to elaborate on that so there's clarity to what I mean. Staff recommended this application to council. It has been modified according to all of their concerns and those of the design review panel, the committee of adjustment, the heritage advisory committee, the I suppose guidelines on the district plan. And staff has said that it is compatible with the neighborhood and that it is good planning. It is an appropriate use of the R7 zone. So in my opinion, it is Well, to allow residents to prevail on what good planning is, despite all of the professionals' comments and volunteers' comments, it's completely contrary to our planning policy and our planning process. Now, I did watch the tape. I said last week that some of the comments accusing the developer of wrongdoing or potential wrongdoing were disrespectful. But when I watched the tape, there were some things that really caught my attention, such as saying the developer is making the building so high to sneak in a couple of extra apartments, that the developer will simply say whatever he thinks will get him what he wants, accusations of future wrongdoing. I should have called a point of privilege, Mr. Mayor. Those were not acceptable comments in our council chamber. And I would like to sincerely apologize to Mr. Hassan and Mr. Eckball. Mr. Eckball said at that meeting that he was saddened by how he was maligned. And I actually am saddened myself that I didn't stand up to stop it. And I'm not going to let that happen again. Anybody who comes to our council chamber in good faith needs to be respected and not disparaged. And it was a very difficult meeting to rewatch, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments or questions? I actually have a few. Oh, Councillor Gallo, go ahead.
But yeah, just in listening to that, and I just want to share Councillor Gunner's perspective on that regard. I don't think it was acceptable. And I'll note on 9 years of council, sitting with Councillor Gardner for the last 9 years, I don't think I've ever once seen her, not that she doesn't like developers, but defend a developer, or she's defending statements against the developer. And again, not that she's against them, but when she speaks like that, I pay attention because I know where she stands. So I thank her for that, and I too felt bad that things were said that should have probably been stopped and really didn't add to the discussion, or at least didn't help me make any decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So, Councillor Humphries, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Councillor, Mayor, through you, Mr. Mayor. I hear, yeah, I think there was a delegation that may have gone that route, and I think that those statements may have gone too far. I think emotions can come in play when people are passionate and things are probably said that shouldn't be. So absolutely agree with that. But I don't want to repeat what I said last week, so I'll stop there. But thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I too did revisit back, and as I often do, and the majority of you know that have sat at this table with me for even from last term, that I've gone through the Heritage District Plan many times in regards to, we had that other argument, Councillor Humphries, when Councillor Gardner, actually the rest of you remember last term, in regards to a development on Center Street where it didn't conform to our Heritage District Plan. And so I decided to go through it again because I did believe that this one didn't conform to it, but I didn't really want to go that hard on it. But it seems that I'm going to have to a little bit, because I think there needs to be an understanding that this doesn't actually conform to our Heritage District Plan. Under 9.1.2, overall site and scale conditions, key elements of scale, massing, and site which predominate in the Northeast Old Aurora neighborhood and should be maintained are as follows. The predominant single detached dwelling form, side yard driveways in rear or flankage yard garages which result in generous side yard spacing between buildings, generous rear yard amenity space. There's no generous rear yard amenity space in that development. It does not conform to our Heritage District Plan. And when we go one step further, and I know some will say, well, wait a sec, our zoning actually states something different. Well, anyone that knows about heritage district plans and knows about planning knows the fact that heritage trumps planning. And it specifically states in our heritage district plan under section 7.3B, notwithstanding 7.3A policies and guidelines included in the heritage district plan, which further refine standards established in the zoning bylaw to ensure compatibility with the heritage district context. This is the key, not may, shall prevail under the authority provided by section 41.22 of the Ontario Heritage Act. Once again, the plan trumps planning. Heritage trumps planning. So if it does not conform with our heritage district plan, and ultimately, I understand that staff recommend this. I understand that the heritage committee might have been somewhat in favor of this. I understand that the design review panel might have been in favor of this, but council is the authority when it comes to decision making in regards to heritage and in regards to planning. This does not conform, and all we're asking for is for them to go back and rework this and come back with a plan that does conform and that we can all agree on. I'd be happy to approve this. I think all of us would be happy to approve something that will provide more housing, be able to bring in possibly rentals, but would fit within the character of the community and conform with our heritage district plan. And I think that's all we're trying to do here. And when the applicant is willing to extend it 60 days to achieve that compromise, and to get to that point that we can all agree on it, I think it's our obligation to extend it and to come to that compromise. I'll call a vote.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I have my hand up both on screen and here. May I speak? I'm not sure what's going on. Can anyone else tell me could anyone else who's present tell me what's going on?
We called the vote, Councillor Garner.
No, Mr. Mayor, my hand was up as it is supposed to be. Your hand is raised. It's been up since before you started to speak.
Councillor, I called the vote.
You called it incorrectly, Mr. Mayor. Perhaps the clerk
I
can
won't be
verify
voting, Mr.
that.
Mayor. I saw her hand up and you jumped to call the vote, and I saw her hand up. She has an obligation to speak twice.
Maybe that's why we should all be here in person, but we'll get to that at another time. Councillor Gardner, go ahead. I'll allow it, even though people have already voted.
Or
Go
you
ahead.
pay attention to the screen.
I pay attention to the screen, Councillor. Please, Councillor, don't take liberties and cheap shots. Just keep your mic off unless you're asked to speak. You haven't been asked to be spoken to by the chair. Keep your mic off, please. Councillor Gardner, go ahead. I'll allow it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I would say that my daughter's health and well-being trumps everything, including being there in person. You may remember that we approved a triplex on Center Street last year. It's actually almost next door to this. So it is within the district plan, as is we approved it a year ago. So yeah, a triplex is allowed. There were no objections last time. And with respect to staff, Councillor Gallo's comment, when staff is following planning policy, including environmental planning policy, I have no beef. Thank you.
Let the record show, Mr. Clerk, that there was lots of repetition and nothing new, and I allowed it. Thank you. Call the vote. Let's finish the vote.
I vote yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
I vote no,
Councillor.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The last one. Councillor Gallo. Councillor Gallo. That carries. Council will move to motions. We have one, Councillor Gilliland, Property Standards Bylaw Modernization and Review. Would you like to move as is? Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Kim. Councillor Gilliland, floor is yours.
As I mentioned earlier, we did receive a letter of support. I guess I should have asked specifically for it to be included on the agenda. But essentially, a resident was in letter of support of the motion based on some lighting issues and lighting pollution in the town. If I may, Mr. Mayor, may I read it out?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. To the town clerk, I understand a motion calling for a review of the 22-year-old property standards is going to be presented on November 23rd. This is a letter in support of the motion and request to specifically review and introduce measures to curtail unnecessary light pollution at night. With the advent of bright LED lighting, a review to potentially regulate certain types of light pollution could benefit the community. There is plenty of research and scientific evidence that artificial light harms human health and negatively affects the flora and fauna around us. Outdoor lights illuminating the exterior walls has no other purpose but decorative, and while roof overhanging lights have particularly no effect on the indoor inhabitants, the community on the outside is exposed to these malignant lights, especially if the lights are left on throughout the night, every single night. Many communities in Canada and the US already recognize the need to take measures limiting the light pollution. The measures range from full cutoff light fixtures to ensuring lights off periods during the night. The time is right for Town of Aurora to revise its property standards to support its commitment to community energy plan and minimize unnecessary waste of energy wherever possible, while at the same time improving the quality of life and long-term health of its residents. Best regards, Serge Sadchenko, and he does live in Aurora. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it was shared with council. Initially, my investigation was initiated by concerns of light pollution. It wasn't the first reach out that I had. And a lot of this is mainly caused by the new technology of LED lighting. And I've also been approached by residents who have concerns about exposed garbage receptacles in view by residential areas, and also vehicles parking on front lawns or creating new parking pads on their front lawns. And so after discussions with staff, they agreed with the emergence of brighter LED lighting and other growth in technologies that we could really benefit from a review. And that's when I discovered, like, wow, this hasn't been dusted off since 1999. 22 years, the property standards bylaw in general. So a lot has changed in Aurora. In the last 22 years, we've seen a lot of increase in residential homes, multi-level development and business growth. So I kind of feel now is an opportune time in which staff can review these property standard bylaws to reflect our growth and modernization. It's not just limited to the lighting pollution that this resident had specifically spoke of, but there's many different avenues such as retaining walls and driveway delineation, and I can go on and on. But needless to say, this is just really to modernize the bylaw that reflects our growth and modernization. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions to this? Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you to you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Councillor Gilliland for bringing this motion forward. I think it's great timing to review our policies overall. And I appreciate the light issue. I did have a resident who has a small bungalow alongside a home that was just built 2-story, and the lights are often left overnight and lighting into their home. So it is causing them some grief. So I appreciate this motion and looking forward to hearing what staff have to say we come back to do some of the updates. And I thank you very much again.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gardner. Oh, no, left. Councillor Gardner, you're on mute.
From my experience, the thing that causes residents the most distress is noise, unwanted noise. And then the second thing is lights. And in the past, sometimes we've put the onus on the residents that are disturbed by the light, you know, get better screens or X, Y, and Z. But it's really shouldn't be up to the residents, and they shouldn't. There's no reason that they should be disturbed by a neighbor's lights. And it could also be a privacy issue. So I thank Councillor Gilliland for bringing this forward. And my question is, what about everything that's already in place now? Will we be able, when this is, hopefully this is updated, will we be able to go to a home that has lights on 24/7 or has the light shining into a neighbor's window and say you have to correct this? Or is this going forward?
I'd say that's more of a question to staff than.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I meant it to be to Ms. Van Leeuwen.
Ms. Van Leeuwen?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So we would like to do a comprehensive review of the property standards bylaw, as it is very outdated, come back with a new property standards bylaw, and then it will be enforceable.
Mr. Gardner?
Short and sweet. Thank you, Tasha.
Thank you. Councillor Kemp?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Gilliland, for the motion. It's, you know, given the last review was 1999, it certainly does deserve a much needed review given how much time has passed. Certainly in my 7 years in council, there are instances where certain property standards needed to be reviewed. So thank you, and I'll be in support.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gilliland, thank you for bringing us forward. I mean, as Councillor Kim just mentioned, it's always great to update these things, especially when they're that old. Ms. Van Leeuwen, one thing I would like to see, as well as I know I've talked about this before, is maybe within that report that does come back and within the property standards bylaw, you can maybe add a little piece where you talk about whether we move towards a more proactive approach when it comes to property standards, and just what that would entail from a town's perspective. If you could just look at that and maybe touch on that within the report that comes back to us, that would be great. I see nodding of the head. Yes. Thank you. Other than that, I think we're good to vote. Councillor Gilliland, did you want to wrap up? No, you're good. Call the vote.
My vote's yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, mine just appeared on the screen. Did you get it?
Councillor Humphreys?
My vote's yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. That carries unanimously. Council, new business. Start to my left, which is on the screen. Councillor Humphreys.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillor Gardner, new business.
Thank you. I'm not sure if this qualifies, but I'll try. Are we intending to do some work at the Aurora Lawn Bowling Club on the grass surface?
Ms. McDougall.
Thank you, through Mr. Mayor. Actually, this is my colleague, Mr. Downey. So-
Oh, Mr. Downey.
Oh,
Well, I tried to get you both in just to say a few words. That's all. Mr. Downey.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. And we haven't got an inquiry from the Lawn Bowling Club. We do actually go and do special grounds maintenance for the Lawn Bowling Club. However, I'm not aware of any request for upgrades or repair or replacement at this time.
Councillor.
thank you. Thank you. Who would they contact to make such a request?
They can contact myself, Sarah, Tian
Okay.
Kent, or Steve Filippelli.
Councillor.
Thank you so much.
Any other new business? Councillor.
Yes, I did ask Ms. McDougall, I'm not sure she had a chance to look at it, about, I don't know whose this is, about the possibility of improving the lights at the Lawn Bowling Club. They're old and it's becoming harder to see for a good number of the bowlers. So I didn't expect you to have an answer, but I'll ask you anyway.
Ms. McDougall.
Through Mr. Mayor, thank you. I did follow up and I've reached out to Ms. Teenkamp on Mr. Downey's team. And she too has not had an inquiry or concern mentioned to them. However, they are looking at including that in their 10-year capital to move all lighting to an LED plan. So they will capture the Lawn Bowling Club in that plan.
Councillor.
Thank you, Ms. McDougall. Many of those bowlers are older, although they are trying to encourage younger members. Do you have any idea where in that 10-year capital plan this might fall?
Ms. McDougall.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. No, unfortunately, I don't.
I'll follow up.
Okay.
You.
Or I'm happy to do it for you. I can ask you to be more specific, but.
Thank you. And hopefully this summer, we're all going to go and enjoy lawn bowling, which Mr. Mayor knows is a lot harder than it looks.
It's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Any other new business, Councillor?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gallo, new business?
Thanks. Just through you to Mr. Downey. The season is approaching, and I was wondering if any thought has been put towards outdoor skating rinks. Are we going to continue with what we did last year? Are there any additions? If Queen's Diamond Jubilee can be put on the list as well, I'm happy to help out or find some volunteers. Just an update.
Mr. Downey.
So thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, we have given some consideration to our outdoor ice rinks. As you know, we have 4 pads that we bought last year and put 2 in Ada Johnson and 2 in Town Park last year. This year, we're contemplating something different. What we were looking at is identifying a number of different locations where rinks could be accommodated throughout the municipality, whether with these devices or natural flood rinks. And our idea was to use Town Park, first of all, as a home base. So there'll always be a rink at Town Park. However, move these other rinks around to those other locations and set up some criteria. For instance, water, maybe parking, certainly looking for a flat piece of ground, that type of thing, and rotate these throughout the community so that it's not always in the same 4 parks year after year after year. So I had conversations last week. I have a meeting tomorrow on this exact same topic again, because I would like to get that information out, because it's getting time to set them up. The nights are getting colder. They're not there yet, but I certainly would like them set up somewhere around the middle of December, so that hopefully we can get sustained cold weather and get them frozen. So that's our plan for this year. And if we could find somewhere between 12 to 15 different locations in the town, that would be ideal in my mind.
Councillor.
And again, if you could put Queen's Diamond Jubilee on the list, happy to help out to maintain it.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, it is on the list. It is one of the parks where There is parking, there's a flat piece of ground, and there's water. So you would definitely qualify. But if there isn't, if we don't erect a rink in that park this year, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't be able to go off and flood an area. But as I said, we would like to perhaps move these structures around, and perhaps if we have room in the budget, even buy an additional one so that we can maybe put 5 rinks out. As you know, the maintenance on these is substantially less than doing a flooded rink on the ground.
Councillor?
Yeah, I was referring to flooding. If it need be, I'm happy to help.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson, new business? Councillor Kim? Councillor Gilliland?
Sorry. I just have a follow-up question to Mr. Downey about the rinks.
Go ahead.
The town park rink. Originally, you could skate the entire surface. And then at some point we decided we were just going to pile the snow in the middle. And it was because we didn't want anybody shooting pucks and hitting the glass at the armory. And a lot of residents really prefer having the whole rink kind of open concept. And so I just kind of wanted to know if there was a way that we could maybe pile the snow in that kind of direction to kind of shield it, or put something up so we can have the entire rink open for everybody to enjoy.
Mr. Downey, and I'll throw a suggestion. Could we look at flooding the ball diamond instead?
So lots of suggestions. So through you, Mr. Mayor, with regards to the rinks, yeah, we've had those conversations, and there's always a desire to have both opportunity for hockey and opportunity for pleasure skating. With regards to, and so we're looking at that, and maybe we need to designate times or something along those lines. With regards to location, we are looking at moving the structure over to the ball diamond for a couple of reasons. So first of all, it's flatter than the ground that it was on last year. And secondly, it can be lit, so that if we wanted to turn the ball diamond lights on, we could do that and have the park illuminated during the evening. So that's one of the things that we are discussing, and you'll more than likely either see the rink turn 90 degrees from what it was last year, because we are concerned about some flat area, or we're going to put it over in the ball diamond. But I kind of prefer the ball diamond myself.
Thanks. I think that's a great idea, actually. So that's wonderful, and exciting as well that the tree lighting is going to be at Town Park this year. So that's really awesome. So excited about that. Is there going to be a tree lit at the Town Park, Town Hall as well? Like it just in general for being lit? No, it's just at Town Park. Okay, good to know. Thanks.
Thank you. Is that all, Councillor?
Yeah.
Okay. I have one. So just to inform everyone in the public, starting as of January 1st, we will be moving back to pre-COVID council meetings, which means we'll all be in here. Public will be in here. There will be some protocols in place, but I'm looking forward to seeing everyone back to pre-COVID days. With that being said, I get a motion for the bylaws. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kim. All those in favor? Actually, oh, sorry. Call the vote. Sorry, Mr. Clark. Councillor Humphreys?
Yes.
Thank you. That carries. Confirming bylaw. Someone like to move that? Councillor Gilliland, Councillor Thompson. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Oh, sorry, motion. I was already ahead of myself. I wanted to get out of here. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. There we go. Now we are adjourned. Have a great weekend.